back to my channel. This is gonna be the most informal get ready with me of life. You're like, wait, Dani, but all your get ready with me's are very informal. Well, this one's gonna be even more so, even a scotch more informal. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how I do my makeup when I don't want to do my makeup but have to do my makeup. So I guess you could call it like 15-minute makeup. This video is gonna be like 45 minutes, okay? Just throwing it out there. This is also the type of makeup I do when I don't want to do foundation. So it's kind of like my fast makeup, my last minute makeup. I'm a firm believer that no place you need to go to requires you to wear makeup. However, I also know how I look with makeup versus how I look without it. So some occasions require the full glam, right? Others don't, but they help. This is also makeup I do like if I need to go to my son's school, or if I get invited like on a last minute social outing and I don't have any makeup on. So that's what we're gonna do together today. So for primer, we like to use a blurring primer, any primer that has blurring effects or pore filling effect, because it's going to help even out any texturiness that you have on your skin, especially since we're not gonna go in with a foundation, okay? So for that, I usually use the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. Sometimes I even use the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer. This isn't as aggressive at blurring as, say, something like this is, but it also has an added sun protection perk to it, so there's that. But for today's purpose, we are gonna go in with, oh, this is also a really good option. If you guys have this on hand, this is also a super great option. This is Makeup Forever Step 1 in the smoothing type, not the hydrating, not the mattifying, just the smoothing. For the purpose of today's video, we're gonna go in with the Milk Makeup's Blur Stick. You guys, they sell this in a mini version. Like, it's this big. It's so cute. It's probably like the biggest ripoff on the planet, but whatever, you guys, it's adorable. I was like, oh, how come I didn't add that to my summer ready haul? You know, that could come with me to Florida. And then I had this moment where I was like, why would I be wearing primer in Florida when I'm just gonna be laying by the pool all day, right? I don't know. You guys, sometimes my mind goes to places that it doesn't need to go to. That sounded very dramatic. It's not what I meant. So you guys wanna hear some gossip? I went on a first date a few days ago. I got up from the middle of the date and left. I'm just gonna give you a couple seconds to process that idea. Okay, I need to give you guys some context, obviously, and that's gonna be the chisme or the gossip or the tea of this video. I just thought you guys would enjoy it. It's kind of funny, especially because I get a lot of comments, direct messages, emails, letters from you guys that, you know, are like, oh, you know, sort of like implicative that being divorced is like so much fun and I get to date and, you know, find love again. Y'all, it's the grass is not greener. This isn't one of those situations where like, oh my gosh, the grass is greener on the other side. It's really not. If you're in an awful relationship or like in a bad marriage, at least you know what to expect from that person. This time it's like you put all your eggs in a basket and then they break all your eggs and then you try again and then they break them again and then you try again and then they break them again. Y'all, dating culture these days is so hard and confusing. I'm pretty sure I was born in the wrong era. But yeah, there's a little context behind it. But man, these dates, let me tell you. I'm gonna need two different concealers. They're the same concealer, but they're two different shades, okay? We're gonna go in with the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer, and then we're going to need a domed synthetic brush like this one. This is from Zoeva and it's the 142 Concealer Buffer. For this one, I'm gonna go in with two different shades, right? The lighter shade is Custard or Medium 1, and I'm going to use that underneath the eyes as like a brightening concealer. And I know it looks a little barbaric the way that I'm applying it, but we just kind of all rub it out together. We just kind of buff it out together at the same time. Oh man. I will not confirm or deny that it's Sunday, late in the evening, and I'm tired, and I needed to put makeup on. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna show my pandas how I do this makeup look on like 7 cups of coffee. My apologies in advance. Then I'm gonna go in with a concealer that's my exact skin tone shade. This is in the shade Ginger or Medium 2. And that's gonna go on areas where I have discoloration, pigmentation, blemishes. So this is going to be your coverage concealer, the one that's going to fake the funk. This is brightening. Everything else we're faking it. We're faking perfect complexion. So for me, it's going to be the chin. And you guys can see I'm just kind of dotting it around my nose. Again, dotting it around. I leave the top of my nose as is because I like my freckles to show. And then same concealer. Do you see this blemish that I have here? That's gonna go on top of those little, that crew of blemishes that decided to inhabit my face. There's a couple of them here. I don't know if you guys could see the side of my face. There's a big one there. I don't know what's going on. That's how you know I'm stressed, you guys. My complexion is that of like a hormonal teenager, let me tell you. And then I'm just gonna dot a little bit right here where I have enlarged pores. Then just take your damp beauty blender and bump everything out. Anywhere there is concealer, you're just gonna buff it and just smooth it out. So even it out, flatten it out, smooth it out, make it thinner. Okay, so why this technique, or why did I come up with this, or why did I start doing this on my face? The reason was because I feel like when I go in with foundation, it makes my skin look too perfect. And then I have to compensate with things like bronzer or blush or eyeshadow primer or really bold brows. You know, it just, there's this compensation almost. So if you go in with like a full base of makeup or full foundation, you have to compensate with other things to just kind of even out the glam, right? If you go in with just a really thin layer or wash of concealer, throughout the day, that concealer is going to wear away gracefully, and it's going to look like you just have dewy skin as opposed to foundation that's breaking up on your skin or makeup that requires a touch-up. It's one of those makeup looks that will not require touch-up because as it wears away, it's just going to look like your skin. So I don't know if you guys can tell now, but it just basically looks like I evened out my skin tone, right? I'm gonna go in with a translucent setting powder. You could also go in with a powder foundation. So if you guys have a powder foundation on hand that is your exact shade, you could also use that for extra coverage, and you don't have to go in with a liquid base. You also don't have to go with additional brightening concealer underneath the eyes. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of options of powders that I use. I use the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose most of the time. Okay, so I can set everything with a translucent powder like this. If I want my makeup to last just a little bit longer, or I want additional coverage without going in with a liquid or cream product, I either go in with the Maybelline Fit Me powder. It's like a black rectangle. It's in my purse, otherwise I would show it to you. It's a black square compact with like teal letters, like the paint in my room. Or I go in with the BECCA Multitasking Perfecting Powder. The problem with this one right now is it's a little too light for me. This is in the shade Light, so I need to go in a shade deeper. I love this powder because you can actually apply it to skin that's already been active, for lack of a better expression. You know how some powders you can't apply on top after you've had your face going for a few hours because they do break up or they get that little makeup scab on here? This powder is really forgiving. So we're gonna go in with the translucent powder. Make sure you don't have any creasing on concealer, and you really shouldn't because we didn't use that much of it. Push that into the under eye area, just push it in gently but firm enough where it's actually going to set without creating any creping or creasing of your product. So take your damp beauty blender and you're pushing the product in. Since we didn't apply any concealer to the top of our nose is gonna be dewy first. I just like to take my damp beauty blender and push it into the areas where I know I applied the concealer. And then anywhere else, it would just be a light dusting with a big fluffy brush. If you want to, but is it necessary? Not really, because we didn't use that much concealer. For brows, you want to make sure that you don't go in too intense because the rest of our makeup is going to be very light. So when you have light makeup and really intense brows, they tend to make you look more aggressive or even age you. So you don't want to go in too hard on your brows. So I'm going to go in with CoLLAB's Shape and Shade Ultra Fine Brow Pencil in Taupe. And what I do is I just line the bottom. And basically, it's the same thing of how I do my brows normally. I just don't apply as much product. I have these little glitter flecks on my face right now for some reason. I must have opened some packaging with glitter in it. Because I'm like, where did this glitter come from? So do you see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of gently going along the base or the bottom of my eyebrows, running it straight across. Then I fill in the tail end of my brow. Same on this side. And then I'm going to go in with upward strokes. Okay, now that I've filled in my brows completely, I'm going to take a spoolie and brush the product through, almost removing some of it. So what we want to do is just deposit a light wash of color in the shape of the brow that we want, but we don't want to leave as much color. You can see how intense the brows look already. We want to make sure our eyebrows are just as subtle. So just keep taking that spoolie and you brush the color through it, kind of blending it gently and removing some of the product at the same time. Now go in with a clear brow gel. If you guys don't have a brow gel and you don't want to spend money on a brow gel, another thing you guys can do is also take a little bit of hairspray. I know it sounds weird. Take a little hairspray on a toothbrush and use that as a brow gel. Obviously, you want to make sure that you're using a hairspray that you trust and that you would feel comfortable bringing close to your face. But it was something that my mom did growing up, and it was just so practical, especially if you're like traveling and stuff and you want to pack extra products. It's a really cool way of just setting those brows in place without having to pack too much product. Plus, I don't know about you, if I forgot my brow gel, I wouldn't just go without. I'd figure out a way to do it, right? So just take a little bit of hairspray on a toothbrush, give it a couple of brushes, and you're good to go. This next part's kind of an important concept. So this is where we get monochromatic, which makes it easy for us to put together this look. So we're either gonna go with an all bronze, so you'll do like a bronze shadow, a bronze blush, and like a bronzy lip color. You could do like a mauvey pink. So you'll do like a mauvey eyeshadow, a mauvey blush, and like a mauvey lip. You could do a nude blush, a nude eyeshadow, and a nude lip. So you want to stay monochromatic so that it's easy, so you can multitask with the same product, so that a subtle makeup look looks more put together than it actually is, because it's all in the same color family. Today we're going to go in with a Dusty Rose. That's going to be the shade that we use. And in order to do that, I think I'm going to use this palette. I will also use Rockateur, which is my go-to blush. And then we probably want to use a little contour powder, a little something like that, something that will give us some sort of definition since we don't have too much going on the skin. Since this is a very simple look, we don't want to contour too intensely. Not that I ever really, but we just want to give our face some definition and some structure. So I'm just going to go in with a bigger domed brush, similar to the concealer one. It's just a little bit bigger. And just run it a few times right above your ear towards your cheekbone or the beginning of it. Just like that. So we're just giving very, very, very subtle definition along the cheekbones. Then we're going to take a blush brush, Benefit's Rockateur. Take some of that, and that's going to be our blush shade. Pop that on the apples of your cheeks, bring it up towards the back. Then we're going to go in with 2 eyeshadow colors, maybe 3, depending on how it looks on our face. Take a giant shader brush like this one, and then a light shade. It could be a white, it could be a matte vanilla, it could be anything that's sort of brightening, and you're going to run that along your brow. Not only does that make your brows stand out, especially if you didn't define them as much as you normally would, it's also going to open up your eyes, make them seem bigger, more awake, more bright. Then we're going to take a smaller shader brush, like say this one. This is the E45. And I'm going to take this purple, it's like a mauvey purple shade. Take that on the tip of the brush like that. Dust off any excess. And then I'm going to focus on the base of my lashes and slowly bring it up. So base of the lashes and slowly bring it up. You're going to carry this all the way up to your crease. Do the same thing to the other side. Base of the lashes and slowly bring it up. Take that same brush and that same color and you're going to run that along the lower lash line very gently. You don't want to bring it down too low because we didn't use any extra brightening concealer. You know how we usually carry down a lot of brightening concealer? We didn't do that today. You want to make sure that you don't do anything to make that area look significantly darker than usual. And since we're not doing our usual makeup routine, it will already look darker than usual. See where I'm going with this? So you don't want to do anything to compromise that. The last step for eyeshadow is a little bit easy. You have a couple choices. You could go in with this same shade and really just blow out the crease. You could go in with a lighter shade like this pink if it's already in your palette. If it's not in your palette, a hack or something that you could do, a trick, is use the blush that you're wearing on your cheeks. And that's going to kind of tie the look together. So I'm going to go in with Rockateur and just kind of fluff that all over the crease. Remember, Rockateur is a satin finish blush. So if you don't prefer that, you probably don't want to use this blush as your transition shade, right? You want to go in with the color that you used on the lid already. Okay, we're gonna do highlighter really quick, and then we'll get off camera and do mascara. For highlighter, I like to do something that's very wearable, very neutral. It's like a school and work type highlighter. Listen, I'm a firm believer in wearing whatever the heck you want, wherever the heck you want. But the Laura Mercier Highlight 1 is one of my favorites because it's not glittery. It's just a really subtle glow that it gives to the skin. So I like to apply that anywhere that you want light to your face. Very glowy, but it's subtle. It's not shimmery or glittery. I'm gonna jump off camera and do my lashes, and then we'll come back and finish the look with just some simple lipstick and a little brown eyeliner. Isn't mascara like the most magical creature of life? You just put on a little mascara and it's like, whoa, what happened to your face? Like, whose face is that? Is that like some magical, mystical, miraculous, what is this, like alliteration? What is this magical creature all of a sudden with eyelashes? And you saw we used like no eyeshadow basically, it's just shading. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in with a brown pencil. You could go in with black, you could go in with navy, anything that's just going to give the illusion of more lashes. You do want to give, though, your mascara some time to dry, especially if you guys layer mascaras like I do. I guess I should have told you which ones I use. I use Rimmel's Lash Accelerator as my first coat, and then I went in with 2 coats of Superhero from IT Cosmetics. Now we're gonna go in with Smashbox Always On Liner in Brewed. This is just a basic brown liner, and that's gonna go on the tight line and the waterline. You can go up a little bit too, like I kind of pop it up in between my lashes to just kind of give a more full appearance. Just like that. And then we'll do the lower lashes as well. And you'll skip over to your other eye and do the same thing. Let me see if I could show you guys a really good side-by-side, like a pre and post eyeliner shot. So I don't know if you guys can see the difference. This is with eyeliner, this is without. So the only thing we have left to do now is obviously even out my eyes, and then a lipstick. And I'll show you guys my go-to ride or die lipstick for this type of look. It's perfect every time. You don't need a base, you don't need a lip liner, you don't need a gloss. That one lipstick, just a light wash of it, and you're like, whoa, I need it in my life. Yes, you do, you guys. Yes, you do. So let me finish this eye. Hopefully we're gonna do it without getting a retinal detachment or corneal abrasion over here. It's so hard for me to do eye stuff while I'm talking. Eye stuff. That just, we don't need to entertain that thought. Okay, so I ran downstairs to get my magical lipstick, but while I was there, I got that powder I was telling you guys about. That's like my go-to recently. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I use the shade 120. I think it's a splash too light, or a scotch. Too light for me right now, but it works. It's doable. And it's a really cool powder. It keeps me matte. It evens out skin tone. It's like a really, really light powder foundation. Very light. I really like it. 120 Classic Ivory. Probably should get a shade darker because I'm tan now. Anyway, the magical lipstick is from MAC. It's called Modesty. Modesty is like the perfect combination of like a nudie, mauvey, rose color. So I just apply it straight on my lips. I don't do a liner. I don't do a gloss. I don't do a base. I don't do anything. I just go directly in with this color. And I also don't reapply. You know how sometimes when I apply lip colors, I go over and over and over to get opacity? With this one, it's just perfection. Let me show you guys. You see that? Isn't it just amazing? So top lip and bottom lip. I like to run over my Cupid's bow, so instead of doing like the sharp V, I actually go straight across. It actually makes my lips look fuller when I go straight across than if I kind of carve out my Cupid's bow. Plus my Cupid's bow is so sharp already that I just don't like the shape that it gives me. So you guys, this is my 15-minute makeup. When I don't want to think about it, when I don't want to apply foundation, when I don't want to get crazy with my eyeshadow, when I don't want to think about it, I just do a very simple concealer only monochromatic makeup look. So as long as you stay within that like monochromatic family, it's going to make you look really put together, like you put a lot of time and effort into your look, when it really took you 15 minutes. Or in Dani speak, it's like 45 minutes. No, really, it does take me like 15 minutes to do because it's always the same go-to products. As long as I stay within the color family, that's what happens. And you know what I just realized? I never told you guys the gossip of my second date. I guess you guys are just gonna have to watch my weekend vlog. So I will leave a playlist for my weekend vlogs in the description box below. I document my shenanigans, what I get into on the weekends when the boys aren't around. So if you guys are into that CHISME and like spilling the tea and the behind the scenes look, then watch my weekend vlogs. That's all I got to say about that. That's all I got to say about this. And if you guys like my t-shirt, there'll be a link in the description box below. If you like my watch band, same thing. Everything is always linked in the description box below. Yeah, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Tell them. Tell them. Go for it. You let them know. Y'all know what to do. If you found this video useful, entertaining, and learned something, please give us a paw up and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, this coffee break is over. Bye, guys.